Good afternoon to one and all present here. This is Flyer Shoaib Khan, and I welcome you all to this wonderful come live session organized by the Flyers Club. Just try to be a better person than yesterday. You will eventually become the best every day. Flyers is one such best entrepreneurship club of the students, by the students, and for the students of the Department of Leather Technology, Anna University. The primary motivation of the club is to ensure that the next best generation of the leather technologists does not miss up the startup revolution. Value for the preparation of the next generation through extracurricular activities in business processes has been felt by the department, and this process is entirely voluntary. Flyers Club has organized various webinars in which speakers from different platforms and backgrounds show up and address the students in various aspects of business, entrepreneurship, and much more. Nevertheless, today, for the first time in the history of Flyers, we are going live on YouTube with a dynamic personality who is an author, a speaker, a marketer, and also a philosopher, who is none other than the one and only Mr. Yaagneshwaran Ganesh, Director of Marketing, Avoma. Mr. Yaagneshwaran Ganesh is among the top 100 global marketing technologists. He is also a TEDx speaker and a best-selling author of the 7 books, with the latest one titled The Revenue Marketing Book. He hosts the ABM Conversation podcast, which is a business-to-business marketing podcast, and it is among the top 1% podcast in the world. He plays an active role in the Google for Startups initiative called the Startup Weekend. We are so privileged to have you amongst us, sir.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now I call upon Flyer Joe Arun, President Flyers, to welcome the gathering.
Thank you, Shoaib. Good afternoon, all. I feel honored to represent the club and welcoming the pillars of today's gathering. Firstly, I'm really excited to welcome today's guest and speaker, Mr. Yaagneshwaran Ganesh, Director of Marketing, Ovoma. I also like to welcome all the Board of Management members, club members, and our below mentor staff from the department, as well as the new student community who are watching us live from YouTube. All those ACT students and ACTech students, welcome you all. I'm sure this event will enlighten us on the space of making marketing approachable, real, and practical. Have a great session. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe Arun. Well, it's time to hear up from the speaker. A kind note to everyone. After the session, we can have an interaction with the speaker. You can raise hand, ask a question, give comments, etc. And those who are on live on YouTube can leave your questions in the comment sections below. Now the session is over to you, sir.
Hey, thank you so much, Shoaib. So yeah, very happy to meet you all here, and I think on a Saturday afternoon, taking time out to learn marketing, that in itself is highly motivating for me to take this up. So kudos to you guys on that. And again, one of the things that before I start, what I would say is that there is no real rules. If you have any questions, even in between, feel free to drop it in the box. And if I can have these questions read out by the moderators, I can happily answer that as well. Right. So first things first, let's start with understanding as to what marketing is, right? So that's the very fundamental of everything. And what I think is generally people think about marketing as purely, say, selling or trying you to convince something, trying to convince you on something. But perspectively, if you think about it, marketing is at its base, educating someone on something on a particular topic. So let me give you a few examples so that you relate what I'm talking about. One, say, think about something like, you must have heard this common statement where people say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. People even go on to say things like, hey, even if you miss lunch, that's okay, but don't miss the breakfast. Now, who told you that? And why do you think about it that way? And why did this thought process even come into our daily conversations? If you really think about it, let's not dig into the realistic science and the healthcare side of things, but if you really think about it, it was a messaging that was delivered to us probably by companies that sold cornflakes and the likes of Kellogg's of the world, because they wanted to be part of our daily life, and they wanted to make sure that the idea of making this as part of your life is believed by you first, so that you go and make that choice. Now, Secondly, there are many similar products. Now, say, for example, long time before, people were probably using neem sticks and charcoal for their teeth in the morning. And then we moved into the idea of using a toothpaste. Like, who told you that, you need to move from this to that? There were companies that fed you this idea saying that, hey, paste is a better option. So in short, what I'm trying to say is that the fundamental of marketing is to inculcate a belief system, a thought process, education, so that start taking a step. It's not like, I come into your doors, or I, make a call to you and say that buy this product. Yeah, that's part of sales, and sales is towards the end of marketing, in the sense like once you're ready, then the sale happens. But marketing is the entire thought process before the sale actually happens. You go into, like, imagine you go into a supermarket, and then what are the things that you do? The first 10 or 20 items that you add to your basket are typically products, host brands that you already know, because there is a trust established. You don't even think about picking some other brands when it comes to your, say, the kind of soaps that you use for your clothes, or it could be the typical say the food items that you buy, or the groceries that you buy. There are certain brands that you think are the best, and that's because the thought process is again fed to you. Now, when we talk about how marketing works that way, let's also understand what marketing is not. Marketing is primarily not sales, right? Sales is a part that comes towards the end, but marketing is not sales. Now, let's understand the first basic concept here is that the origin of marketing comes from who a product is for, right? So you need to understand who a product is going to be used. And when I say who a product is going to be used, it's not necessarily like, thinking about, hey, if this is a phone, like who are the people who are going to use the phone? But it's more like, because when you think about that, then you naturally think about the competition. You think, okay, if this is an iPhone, then probably the competitors could be a Samsung or a Vivo or Sony or anybody else. But if you think about what people use a particular product for, and that's when things begin to change. Now, if I'm thinking, if a phone is going to be used for communication, then probably I'm competing with the likes of say Microsoft Teams or a Zoom or a Google Meet or things like that. So it originally stems from whom you're selling to. And the best reason, or the best part about understanding whom you're selling to, also tells you what language you need to use while you talk. While I say language, I'm not talking about whether it's Tamil or English or Hindi or anything like that, but I'm talking about the approach that you take. Let's say let's look at a product like Byju's, right? So what happens with that kind of a product is that the product is clearly targeted towards students who are, school goers, and you clearly know that these are not the people who have the budget to buy something. So the ads and the entire communication and all these pieces are typically towards the parents. So the message is towards the parents, and giving them the advantage, or giving them the message that what the kids are going to get out of it. And that's how that approach happens. Now, there are thousands of products in the market when it comes to any category, right? So take any product, there are going to be lots and lots of options for you. Today, we are in a space where you have very little time, and there are lots of options. So how do you differentiate yourself? Like, that's where marketing comes into play. Now, marketing has several aspects into it. You can think about what kind of content that gets put out so that you read and consume and understand about it. It also talks about what kind of packaging that happens. So in terms of packaging, I can give you an example. If you've heard of this person called Seth Godin, the name is spelled as Seth, the first name, and the second name is Godin. Seth Godin used to be the CEO of Yahoo, and he's one of the world's number one marketer. And he talks about something called the 30 feet rule. So what 30 feet rule means is that when you look at something from a distance of 30 feet in a shop, right, it needs to be distinctive and it needs to appeal to you. So when you think about this, right? So when you go to a specific shop, or say when you go to a supermarket, there are certain products that are placed in the higher shelves. There are certain products that are placed in the lower shelves, and then there are certain products that are placed in the place where you're checking out, where you're paying and you're getting out of the shop, right? So each of these things are well thought out, and it's based on certain dynamics of how a buyer approaches things, like how they look at certain things and how are the decisions made. So the essentials are on one side, and then there are the chocolates and pastries on one side and things like that. And finally, there are even just, if I have to be more specific, right? So there are certain juices and juice bottles that are in refrigerators towards the end. At the same time, if you look at things like Red Bull, which are more of an energy drink, it also belongs to the same category, but they get placed more near the counter where you're actually going to pay and get out. So these are the kind of things that comes from this concept, which in very simple terms is called jobs to be done. So there's a framework around this. If you guys have time, beyond today's conversation, go and read up something called the jobs to be done framework. It was done by somebody called Clayton Christensen from Harvard University. This was done in the mid 90s, I assume. So the idea of this jobs to be done is that understanding what a particular product does for you, right? So when I say what it does for you, it's not about what the product's features are. It's not like a toothpaste is used for cleaning your teeth. It's not like I use these glasses to see clearly. It's not just that. It's more about what do you hire a product for. So let me give you an example here. Let's say milkshake. So for a long time, what happened was when people bought a milkshake, they these shops that had milkshakes back in the 90s, they were typically opening themselves at around 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, because they thought a lot of people who are coming in for into a restaurant for food, they buy these milkshakes much later. But there were certain shops that specifically started opening up around 8 o'clock in the morning, and those guys started doing some real amazing business. And when people went in and interviewed these people and understood as to how come they suddenly became successful, because generally people try to have something like a dessert or a drink after the food, but why? How come that these guys opened up in the morning? And it was realized that uh, people were hiring this product. That is, when I say hiring, I'm talking about the usage of a product for a particular reason. So let's say typically people who are going to work, their morning, say for example, they tend to get up a little late, they are rushing to the office, they don't have enough time to prepare a breakfast and have their breakfast and go. So what they do is, when they pass by through, say, a petrol bunk or something like that, they're also picking up a milkshake, which is easy to place in the container in your car. And if you're going to take an hour to drive to your office, I mean, I'm talking about pre-COVID, of course, but when that kind of a situation happens, you get to sip in and take the time to also finish your milkshake before even you reach your office. So one, you're making sure that you are full until the time for your lunch, and at the same time you are able to accommodate this as part of your drive. So that when people realized that this was the actual way people used a milkshake, then it made more sense for them to open it through a drive through and accommodate for that. So this is why when you think about anything from a jobs to be done kind of a mindset, you start understanding as to why people use it. And that way you also have a significant advantage of differentiating yourself from your competition. As I said, like any product is going to have thousands and thousands of competitors. Once a product is successful, there are going to be thousands of other people who are also going to come up with the same kind of product, maybe cheaper, faster, but there's going to be the same products coming out and competing. Probably iPhone came out in 2008 or 2007, I guess. So until then, probably BlackBerry was the only smartphone available, and in 2007 there was the launch of this iPhone. It was probably not the best smartphone at that time, but it innovated something. It was known for certain things. And what happened is, ever since iPhone became successful, there are so many other companies that came up into this domain. And right now, there is no dearth of smartphones at all. Like pretty much you get smartphones in all price ranges. But why is an iPhone still different? It's because of two things. One is the mindset, that the mind share that iPhone has with you. Whenever you think of any particular category of product, it could be a book, it could be a microphone, it could be headphones, it could be anything. So whenever you think of something, you're always going to think of one brand in the first place. That's called the mind share. What is the first product that comes to your mind? What is the first brand that comes to your mind? That's called the mind share. So somebody who comes into the category for the first time and tells you that this is how this is going to function, you understand it from them, and they're going to have that mind share. Now, when there are 10 other products doing the same thing in the same category, how do you differentiate, right? So you cannot say that I'm also a smartphone or I also have these features. Now, technically, in every product, we call it feature parity, and we call certain things as differentiation. What I mean by feature parity is that there are certain things that you expect every product to do. When I wear the specs, I should be able to see you, and that's a bare minimum. And then I need to get the right kind of frame, or I need to make sure that this is light enough for me to wear, or like there are certain basic expectations, which is what I call as table stakes. By table stakes, I mean that certain things that you expect every particular product competing to have for sure. Like if it's a phone, you need to be able to browse the internet, you need to be able to make a call, you need to be able to install some basic apps and things like that. Now, the differentiation is, what does a product do uniquely? Now, that differentiation, is it in terms of a product feature? Like you say that this product does A, B, and C, which no other product does. Or there is also another way of differentiation where you position this product as to be something totally different. Just as we saw in the milkshake category, they did not position themselves as yet another juice, but it was thought about as a replacement for breakfast. That changes the entire story. Let me give you an interesting case or an example so that you understand this better. So as of now, like, are you guys understanding what I'm saying, or is it going way too technical? Is it okay?
It's okay.
Sure. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Right. So now let me give you another example. Have you heard of this chocolate bar called Snickers? Right. So what happened when Snickers came into the market? Typically, Snickers was seen as yet another chocolate, and it was placed in the chocolate category like many others. It was probably competing with the likes of a Milky Bar or a Milky Way or other Cadbury's and stuff like that. Now, what these guys did as part of their research is they tried to understand, when are people buying Snickers and compared to the other chocolates. And it was found that typically in an airport, when somebody is moving from one flight to another, that is when they are in a transit, they had probably just an hour or probably 30 minutes in between, and they had to rush. And if they were hungry, they had to grab something very quickly so that they could satiate their hunger until they get something in their next flight, right? So what happened in that time was, these guys often noticed that people picked up Snicker, and because it was something that was not just a chocolate, but it could satiate their hunger for a longer time. And that's when these guys came up with the idea or a concept of coming up with this ad where they said, "You're not yourself while you're hungry." you know so they again started playing in that hunger game rather than being in the chocolate bar business. So there are also failure cases. Now think of a failure case like, say, ice factory. So there used to be a time in the Western world where daily people used to go in and scrape ice and then bring it down to the factories. And what happened was, for a long time, they thought that they are in the business of ice making. And they were manufacturing better equipments to grow and scrape this better and things like that. But once you realize that the reason people use ice for, freezing something, the use case becomes totally different. They did not adapt to how it was used. And when the refrigerator era came in, when people brought in the fridge, and those defrost and freezing things could be done at home, these people went out of business. So there was also a company called Rowetter in the US, which used to have this bread making machines. And then when Wonder came in about in 1930, if I'm assuming it's right, in 1930, when Wonder came into the business, they tried something different. They said, hey, people who are consuming bread are not trying to prepare it at home, but rather they're just trying to get slices of bread. So they just produced the end product, sliced it up, then packaged it and sold it. Then it entirely changed the world. So this is why you need to first understand why people are using a particular product, and how they use it, what role it plays in their lives, and then talk to them. So that's about understanding who is it for. Sorry. And now let's look at marketing from a function standpoint. So what are the different functions that marketing does, or what are the different things that people do when it comes to marketing? So there is content, then there are ad campaigns, there is research, there is something called demand generation, there is something called customer marketing. I'm just giving you some broad areas. I'll talk about each of these things, but the reason I'm throwing these terms to you is that once you start looking at different products, you start at looking at those things from a different lens. You just don't look at it as a product that you're buying, but you start looking at how that's being positioned for you so that it is more relevant for you in your day-to-day life. It could be a laptop, it could be a phone, it could be or something that you buy to eat, even something like a Swiggy or an Uber Eats, where it made more sense for you to order things and get it home. Of course, a lot of restaurants used to allow for packaging, like you go and say that I want to take a parcel, you could do that. But the moment somebody went and picked up and delivered things for your home, that was a need that companies found out, and they tried to create an entire business out of that. So the scope of anything comes from the need of why something needs to be done, who is going to use it, how they're going to use it, so on and so forth. So the first function, let's look at content. So what is content, or what is content marketing? So pretty much anything that the way that you get to know about a product or service fundamentally starts with content. Let's say you are going to buy a bike, or let's say you're going to buy an audio system. What you do is you're probably spending some time on the internet researching that this one has better features or this one has lesser features. What is this having, what is that having? Or when you're buying a car, you're also thinking about things like that. This car has a better mileage, or this car is more luxurious, and things like that. So once you start comparing all these things, there are sites like Car Deco, there are sites like so many sites which give you this kind of information. Now, this content that is presented to you in a consumable manner to make that decision is content marketing. Somebody does that, takes out the time to do that research and put things in front of you so that it is easier for you to make that decision. Now, there are nitty-gritties to this. There are further concepts where you have to think about who writes it. Now, if something is written by someone who is selling a particular product, then you have to look at it from that lens, that hey, probably when I'm talking about comparing 10 different products, I'm going to say that my product is better. That does not necessarily mean that it's the truth. And that's also the way the human mind works, right? So when you talk about any product or service, you cannot very clearly or statistically say that this product is the best. It is something that you like over others. So let me extend that to the same example of this comparison that I'm talking about. Let's say I'm comparing between say buying Maruti Suzuki versus a Hyundai. Now what happens is, when I'm comparing these two, I spend almost a month, and then I get some information, and finally I decide that okay, I'm gonna go with Hyundai, and I'm gonna go with, say, a car like i20, and then I've like all these things are done. Then I suddenly happen to say have a call with a friend, and this person says, hey man, Hyundai cars do get into a lot of problem. There are not enough service centers here. I'm not advocating for or against any of these brands. I'm just giving you a story here. So when I do this and the friend says, hey, these guys don't have a lot of service centers now, I think for especially given Indian conditions, it makes more sense to invest on Maruti as a brand. And so now what happens is, having spent so much of time on my research, that entirely goes out the window. And now I'm gonna go and buy Maruti Suzuki, and probably an equivalent of i20. I say I'm going out and buying a Baleno. So now what has happened? What is this part of marketing? This is something called influencer marketing. So you get influenced by something. So there are lots of people. You would have seen a different version of influencer marketing on, say, an Instagram or a Facebook or Twitter, where you typically see a celebrity or a micro influencer talking about a product and saying that, I use this and this happened, or blah blah blah. Say a Virat Kohli or MS Dhoni, they talk about a particular product. While they do it on a typical ad, then that's a TV commercial. That's a ad where they are going all out and saying that, hey, buy this product. But influencer campaign, the way it's different is that we are actually talking, or we are actually seeing someone who has used the product talking about it. So that becomes a little more authentic than some celebrity endorsing a product, right? So the difference is this. When I'm saying that, hey, I've used this product, let's say I'm a marketer. Now, say there are lots of other marketers in the community who are looking to buy, say, a CRM product or any of a marketing automation solution that they want to use for their business. Now, what they'll do is, somebody who has been through in the same trenches, who has done the work and used a product for the same purpose. Now, if they're going to say that, hey, you know what, I have trialed several of these products, and I think to me, this works the best for my particular issue or my particular use case, maybe you should also give it a shot. Now, this conversation becomes on a whole different level, because the peer to whom you're talking to and getting influenced from, they have also used the product for the same purpose that you're using. So at least there is now a little bit of more confidence, and they are showcasing things. They're saying that, hey, you know what? Hey, see some of these screenshots. This is how I used something. This is what has happened, and this is where this product fell short. This is where it did not really help me, or this is where it helped me the best, or things like that. And now you have little more context as to how do you make that decision and things like that. So that's one side of influencer marketing, and that's also part of content. Now, when you look at content, it's very broad. It's broad in the sense, like, content marketing is not necessarily just about written content, right? So it could be somebody making a video on TikTok, or it could be somebody who is making a video on YouTube, or it could be somebody making just an image that talks about something. So regardless of what format, could it be text, could it be image, could it be a video, or could it be an audio podcast, or it could be purely something that's happening on an audio social platform. Today, when you look at social media, it's not just about a Facebook or a TikTok or an Instagram. Of late, we also have this, if you guys know, there's also a new platform called Clubhouse, which is an audio social platform. So, what are the kind of things that how are people leveraging each of these channels to communicate their message in a consumable format? So that's how content marketing works. Now, without confusing you guys too much, let me just give you a broad overview of the aspects of this content marketing. So what happens here is there are types of content. Now, there is something called thought leadership content, which means that originally I spoke to you about breakfast being the most important meal of the day, right? So that part is a thought leadership. I'm leaving you with a thought process, or I'm wanting you to take a particular thought process towards something. I'm not explicitly selling a product there. I'm just leaving you with an idea. That's all, right? So I could be part of the company, I could be part of an idea process, whatever, but I'm just doing that. So that becomes thought leadership. There's the other side of content marketing, which is called product marketing, which means that's where the idea of comparing two different products came in, right? So I'm showing this product and that product, and I'm saying, hey, this is how these two are different. these are the features of my product, these are the features of their product. So that becomes a product comparison. So yeah, this is I think I'll leave content marketing at that. And if you guys are more interested, check out there are several content marketing courses available online. Maybe check out something like a HubSpot or a CXL to understand that a little more. Now, next part is demand gen. So as the name suggests, demand gen means generating demand. So how do you generate demand for a particular product? What are the kind of things that you do? I can, do some Facebook campaigns, or probably I can send emails to people. I can make calls and reach out to people and say that, hey, you know what? Do you have a need? My product does A, B, and C. Do you think it makes sense? Or so fundamentally the idea, or maybe you could even put out this content and use it for demand generation. You could say that, hey, you know what? This is what my product does, and publish that as an ad. And let people download that content in the form of an ebook, or make people read in the form of a blog. And then if you see a lot of websites today, they generally have this sign up button, or contact us button, or you fill up a form. So once you have the intent to buy something, you go to these websites and you typically fill up these forms, and then you have a sales rep reaching out to you and briefing as to, or trying to understand what is your need and how they can help you, and what is the best pricing that they can give you, and things like that. So typically generating demand for your product with the right kind of customer is what demand gen is all about. And then of course the ad campaigns. The ad campaigns is basically I would call it more of a, there are two ways to look at it. One, I put out an ad to a broad audience like I do it on TV, and I don't know. So this part is, I know that there are so many people who are going to be seeing this, but when I do a TV commercial, I don't know what are the kind of people who are going to see this. Are these going to be relevant? So for example, if I'm going to be selling a software, right? And let's say I'm doing a TV ad, and you guys at Anna University are looking at that ad. Now, for sure, unless it's going to be something like a Zoom or Microsoft Teams, you guys are not going to buy it, because you're not typically users of those softwares, right? I mean, any software I'm talking about. So unless you have a proper use case, and unless that you are going to be the right kind of prospects that I'm going to target, because it makes sense to you, it does not make sense. So broadly, ads can be looked at. Am I looking at a mass media? Then what is the purpose of even running a TV ad? What is that purpose? It's because, yes, they know that these are not the people that are going to buy, but they want their brand to be present. You see the ad of Coke on a daily basis, right? And you're probably not drinking Coke every day. But the moment you're thinking of buying a drink, then Coke remains in your mind. So the idea of getting that mind share with you is why people typically go for something like a TV commercial. Just a minute. Sorry. And then the second part is you running an ad on a social media, right? So when you run a Facebook post and start boosting it towards an audience, you typically look at a filter, right? So say you have a page and you promote a particular post to an audience, and you say boost post, and you get a filter of things as to whom you're going to promote to. Now, what happens is you can start promoting based on somebody's interest and somebody's industry, like what industry these people are from, or what is the reason, or like who are the kind of people. Very broadly speaking, you can at least get a sense of, am I talking to the right people? If I'm not, if you're talking to a totally different audience, if I have to give you a movie example, if somebody likes to look at a proper, say, a commercial, a proper masala film, and if you're going to go and give them a documentary, it's not going to work, right? So the people who watch documentary have a different taste, whereas people who watch a typical, say, Hari movie or a Gautam Menon movie have a different taste. So you have to make sure that you're talking to the right people at the right time with the right message, so that it makes sense. Then there is the fourth part, which is called customer marketing. Now, what customer marketing means is, until now, whatever I spoke, all the marketing that I use this word called prospect. Prospect means somebody who has not become your customer yet, but they can prospectively become your customer. You're just identifying that this is a target market and you're promoting to them. Now, a customer marketing refers to somebody who is your existing customer, right? So how does this come into existence, or how is this useful? Why should you even market to somebody who has already bought your product, right? So think of this, right? So typically, let's say a Cadbury, right? So somebody who buys a 5-star can also buy dairy milk, right? Similarly, somebody who has bought a product from one particular company can also buy another product. So this, in marketing terms, it's called upsell. Upsell means, like, let's say you're going to a store and buying a fridge, and I can also sell you a stabilizer on top of that. So that is upselling. It's a relevant product, but I'm selling that along with you. And that is often done to a customer, existing customer, right? So, and the reason people market to customer is that there is already an established trust, because you are already using my product. If I show you another product that that can make your existing product more useful, or maybe it can help you in another case, but you have a trust with my brand, then it works. So generally, even in terms of cost, right, when you think about unit economics, when you think of that cost that you spend, it's the conversion that happens on an existing customer is always higher than what happens with a prospect. What I mean by this is that if I'm when it comes to a target market that I'm going after, if I target about 1,000 people, probably 5 people might be interested to even listen as to why this makes sense, and maybe one person might give me a chance and say that, yes, let me buy and try your product and see how it goes. But when it comes to a customer, because they have used your product and they have experienced you, then there is a good chance that at least out of every 100, there might be some 20 or 30 who might be interested to buy in another product. So that's the difference there. Now, what I want to talk about next is that I want you to also understand how marketing connects to your overall business. Where does marketing come into play? I initially told you that marketing is not all about sales, and marketing is definitely not selling. So marketing is something that helps across the organization in different areas. Now, when I'm building a product that I want to sell, right? So even when I'm building a product, let it be any product. It could be a software, it could be it could be a water bottle, it could be a phone, it could be anything. When you're building something, fundamentally marketing can start with doing some market research, where it can go out and talk to a set of prospects and try to see if there will be people who will buy a product if I build it. If I build something, are there going to be customers who are going to be interested in something? So that research is also marketing. And now when you do this, it's not just about going out and saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to build a product XYZ, do you want it? Yeah, when you do that, 90% of the time, if those are people that who know you, they might say yes. But the real problem is this, right? So let me give you my own example. In 2011, I wrote my first book, and my first book was actually fiction. It was a book called Taken Already. And I reached out to a lot of people and I asked them, guys, like, I'm writing a book. Would you buy it? And everybody was like, hey, machan kandipada, and but what happened was, when I actually launched that book, there were hardly few people who bought it, and 90% of the people who actually bought my book were not my friends. Those were people who tried the book from outside. So what I'm trying to sell you, or what I'm trying to put across, is that when you say that I'm going to do this, people are going to be nice to you and say that, yes, I would love it. But it's always going to be different when the time comes to actually take money out of the pocket and spend on it. So these are two different things. So take your product out of the equation and just try to understand the problem that you're solving for, and then identify if there is a need for that. And then the second part is marketing helps sales. Marketing does not sell, but marketing helps sales. So unless there is a demand for a product, it's not going to sell. So today, when you think of anything, right? So initially, I also spoke to you about things like you go to a supermarket, you pick up a set of products, and these are often brands that you don't have second thoughts about, right? You just buy, put it into the basket. Now, the thought process of that this brand is good and this is what I need to buy is seeded in by marketing. So all those ads and all those storytelling and all those content and pretty much everything that has influenced you from different corners act upon when you actually are in that aisle to buy a particular product. So the sale happens much later. The sale is more just a transaction, but the factors that influence transactions in some way is where marketing comes into play. Now, broadly speaking, I would also say that marketing happens in 4 levels. Now, originally I spoke about the different functions in marketing when I said content, when I said ads, when I spoke about customer marketing, when I spoke about demand gen, things like that. But broadly, you can divide the style of marketing into 4 different ways. One is sales-led. Sales-led means that a product influences you. Then majorly the activities that the marketers do in a company are to help sales. Basically, I'm trying to do everything that a salesperson asks for. Say, for example, you're conducting this webinar today, or then if this is again, if it's part of a sales activity. Let's say a salesperson tells me that he wants to sell this product to about 100 people who are in this category. Then I'm going to go and invite those kind of target audience to a webinar, or I'm going to do an ebook or some content that these people consume, and then pass on those people who consume it to sales. So the request comes from sales here. The second part is founder-led. So certain products are bought by people because the founders are famous. Think of somebody like an Elon Musk, or think of somebody like say Steve Jobs. People, whatever these guys release, people go and buy. So that's the influence and the branding and those kind of things happens around that person. And the third or the last thing that I'm going to talk about is product led. Sometimes it's the product that helps you marketing. What I mean by this is, think of a product like Zoom, right? So a Zoom or a Microsoft Teams, like today, the Microsoft Teams that I'm using, I don't have Microsoft Teams on my laptop. But what has happened is, since you guys are doing this event on my, on Teams, you just sent me a link. I clicked on it, and now, without even having thought about the need to use Microsoft Teams, because I am using this platform to talk to you today, I'm exposed to this product. So this is product led. Zoom. In fact, the way Zoom proliferated, or the way the Zoom expanded into every house, is because somebody sent you a meeting request and it was a Zoom link. You clicked on it. Then you got to know that there is a product called Zoom. You liked the experience of the conversation, and then you started sending out meeting links to somebody else using Zoom again. So the product spreads, and the expansion or the marketing happens through the product. So that's the third way of looking at it. Finally, I'll stop with this, and then we'll go into a couple of case or an activity kind of an option. But finally, what I want to leave you with is, anything that you do in marketing should need to have a particular goal that your company tries to accomplish using that. So is it going to be building awareness for your product, or is it going to be selling the product, or is it going to be something that convinces people to do that final buy? What I mean by that is, when somebody is evaluating 10 products, am I going to give you something that builds that trust to say that yes, this one is better? So things like that. So think of where marketing can contribute with what kind of activity, and that's where it's always going to be, right? So let's do a fun activity here. So here's a very simple question. I would probably want say about 10 people who can come up and give me an answer to this question. Could be very simple answers. I'm not going to ask very complicated questions. So take one of your favorite products. It could be any product in any category. It could be from hairpins to aeroplanes. It could be anything. pick up one of your favorite products and give me a reason as to why you bought it. Yeah, anybody, like take a couple of minutes and just come up on stage, or moderators, if you can help people come up on stage who raises the hand.
Sir?
Yeah.
Recently, the choice of products varies, but recently I brought a product, and that is my favorite product right now. Like I bought a sunscreen lotion recently.
Okay.
And so that is my favorite product right now. Among all the products I have, that is my favorite product. Like whenever I step out, without that, it is like really hard to go. I just bought it recently, and that is the favorite product to me right now.
I mean, also give me the brand. Like what I'm trying to say is that why did you buy that specific brand or that product? Like what encouraged you to pick that one?
Okay, there like I went out in the market and there were like Lakme, Vaseline, and Nivea. Three products were there.
Yeah.
First thing was I compared with the price category, and other thing was I compared with the quality. That is, it has SPF. Okay, the Nivea's of SPF 50, and this was of 30, and Lakme was 20. So this was of 30, and also like it was of the price category, and also it had an offer. Like when I bought that, it had an offer of 100 rupees off. So I just thought, okay, the quantity is high and also the price is average. So I just took that one.
Love that. Amazing. So anybody else? Yes, I see a couple of hands.
Yes, Joe, Arun, and
yeah. Can you let them share?
Yes, yeah. Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi, sir. So I bought a mobile phone, which is a OnePlus phone.
Okay.
I was actually searching for a lot of phones.
Okay.
And the cost is not about the thing. I'm not looking for the cost.
Okay.
The platform which I'm looking is Android, not iOS.
Okay. Makes sense.
I was looking everywhere, and I thought I have to select this one just because of their customer support as well as the software support they provide. For 3 years, they'll provide the software support.
Okay. So did you have a chance to talk to their customer support people before you bought?
No, I've been influenced by YouTube most of the time.
Okay.
Those reviews and those and then blogs written by OnePlus and their community altogether.
Got it. Super.
That's one of the best product, but now I feel that I won't buy any other OnePlus phones from now on. Not because of the products, because of the nature that they become.
Right. Amazing. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Yes, Mohammed Rizwan.
Hi, sir.
Hey, Rizwan.
Hi, sir. Sir, recently I bought coffee for my house. There was so much options like Levista, Brew, and so on. There were many options, but but I thought Nescafe was the good one because of the taste. I have tried lot of coffees, but Nescafe I feel the best. So for that brand, I took that.
Najmo, taste difference
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I have coffee very hardly, sir.
Okay.
Very coffee குடிக்கிறாங்க ஸோ வந்து அப்பப்போ குடிக்கிறேன்னா டிஃபரன்ஸ் தெரியும் ஸோ Nescafe I feel better.
Okay, brilliant. Love it. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Sivraj.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. I bought biscuit packets for my family, sir. So we bought some
what
cream
packets?
biscuit. Biscuit.
Okay.
Packets.
Yeah. Okay.
We bought some cream biscuits, but I love only milk cream biscuits. Other cream biscuits I hate because the taste is different from all the biscuits. So milk biscuit with cream is my choice.
Right, something like an Oreo.
I hate Oreo. I hate Oreos.
Okay. Right. Amazing. So so the idea of this, all these questions and getting your answers is also to get an example. When you heard each of these stories, right? So there are different points that you guys got influenced. When I heard that somebody bought OnePlus, because they thought the customer support was good. Because I mean, as such, we have not even experienced those customer support, but we read it somewhere and we felt that, hey, that's one of the things that I really need, which also compares to the original idea of me talking about buying a Maruti because there are more service centers. So something like that. And then you guys also spoke about sunscreen, like when you said sunscreen, and it's because of the SPF factor that I made this decision. So again, it's because it's not because of a feature that it has more SPF, but it was a thought process that you are more conscious or you're more educated with the factor that, hey, you know what, I need to have these things, check these boxes so that I buy a better product. So each of these factors that come into your head as to why you make these decisions are all the points that you can actually use for marketing. What are the things that influence? Am I influenced by the impact that this kind of a chemical can have on my body, or is it more about convenience that I need access to support whenever I need? Or is it a taste preference, like you spoke about how what I like and what I don't like? It's purely because you tasted or you tried few things. And even in terms of the coffee story, right? So what happens is, yes, there are specific coffee connoisseurs who can pick taste, but more often than not, what happens is, it's also about the popularity of the brand, or also, you think that this is a better brand and things like that. I love your participation, guys. I mean, these are some really good examples, right? So let me ask you another question. Um, let's say, let's also, have you guys used a product that you never really understood what it was until you really started using it? Have there been products like that, like you've never heard of it, or you've never even understood what that meant? Let's say something like like using an online meeting tool. I don't even know what that means until I started using it. So have there been tools like that? So can like 3 or 4 of you guys share that experience? Yeah, Joe.
Actually, I was about to tell that about MS Teams only.
Okay.
Before pandemic, I never know there is a software which exists. Before pandemic,
Right.
I only know about Skype. Okay, Skype
Right.
was everywhere. People using Skype to make video calls.
Right.
Only after pandemics, we know that okay, there is a software which is Microsoft making, which is MS Teams, but it was
Right.
not created during pandemic. It was already there,
Yeah,
existing in
of
the market.
course. Yeah.
But we only came to know after the pandemic. So that's one of the product, and that's what we are using right now as well. Though. So that gives the feedback. So how we love it, what are the
Right.
conveniences we give.
Actually, another interesting story behind Microsoft Teams is that there used to be a product called Yammer. Have you heard of it?
No, sir.
Okay. Yammer used to be a social media tool that people used. It was built for social media inside the company. It's very much like this Facebook's product called I think it's called Workplace or something like that. So it's very similar to that, the social media that you guys use within a company. And that was a company that got acquired by Microsoft, and then they incorporated most of those features into what they originally had as for team meetings. So they had a product called Link. So Link used to be the meeting tool that they had internally, where people used to speak. And Link further acquired Skype, and it became Skype for Business. And then they also incorporated this Yammer into that. So that was the cycle that product went into. But yeah, it's a beautiful example, right? So any product that you've not even used, this is again a great example of product-led marketing, or product-led, where you've not known the product, but the moment you started using it, then you started inviting more people, and then because of you, 10 other people started using this product. So again, this is also a formula that OnePlus used quite a lot. So what they did was, they gave you a privilege, something like they said you could invite only 5 people. And now that became a position in your side, where you had to be very smart about who are the people who are going to you're going to invite, because these people have to value that. And that's how it became some sort of a multi-level marketing. I don't like the MLMs and the Amways of the world per se, but I'm saying it is one idea of growing the product even when you've not used it. Yeah, Sivraj, your hands are up. feel free to jump in. Sorry, I'm not hearing you well, Shiva.
Yeah, sir. In Telegram, sir. I don't know about Telegram till I enter the college.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. That's an interesting story. I was searching a movie to download. Can't get it from Google or else any other software. I don't know. My friend suggested me Telegram so that I can easily download the movies. They are calling that as a Netflix and conventional method as a Netflix.
Nice. That's actually it's a very similar story for me as well, in the sense like I've been more of a WhatsApp user than Telegram. Very much like you, I also got to use Telegram because of a specific reason. Like I do my podcasts, and my editor said it's much easier to share files on Telegram rather than having to use links or drive links to send on WhatsApp. So yeah, that's a great example. Thank you for sharing that. Right. So now, Mithun, go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, sir. Like I'm also using one app, sir, a doc scanner. Before pandemic, I don't know which app, this app, sir. After joining this college only, I know about this app to create file like in PDF format or JPG format. Before that, I don't know, but after using it, I know, sir.
Fantastic, amazing. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yes, a lot of products are like that. All right. So now what I'm going to do is, this is a final activity question that I'm going to give to you. But this is something that I would want you guys to think for a couple of minutes, and I want like as many people can give their opinions or thoughts or why they feel this happened. I would love to hear from you guys. So here's this question. I'm sure all of you have heard of this company called Kodak, the camera company, right? So can you tell me as to why Kodak's digital version or the digital camera or their as a brand, why they did not work really well, or why they did not flourish? Why Kodak as a company failed and a lot of other companies started to take off? Just think about some of your ideas. Just think about like, I spoke to you about the jobs to be done framework. I spoke to you about the different ways as to how people consume a product. So assuming, or if you don't know that Kodak did not succeed beyond the point, let it be information as well. But just think about what are the reasons or what are the possible reasons why they could have failed. Yes, Joe.
Yes, sir. I think they were not in the right time at the right place of innovating into digital camera or something like that. Sony being or other Japanese manufacturer being the first.
When you say they were not in the right time, are you meaning they were late or they were early?
They were late.
Okay. Makes
and the
sense.
freedom that provided by the digital photography of taking unlimited photos.
Right. Yes.
That one feature is a big thing that people also, because if you buy a Kodak, it comes with a film. You can only take 36. If you make mistakes, that's it. The film is gone.
Yes.
One film is wasted.
Yes.
So the convenience the digital thing provided, as well as the Kodak, they can't accept the fact that they cannot sell no more that films as a part of their camera.
You hit the nail. That's fantastic. Yes, that's exactly it is. Yeah. And anything else, like anybody else? Okay. So yeah, Shivraj, go ahead.
That Instagram page. So been filed for bankruptcy in 2012. So that may be a reason for that.
Right. So I'm going to expand on this. Like I think Joe hit the nail. His answer was perfect from a standpoint of that films. So here's where this is also an implementation of the original jobs to be done idea. So what Kodak did not understand was that, see, Kodak was, yeah, it was in the camera business, but what problem they were actually solving for is they were in the business of preserving memories. When I say preserving memories, it's like typically a camera was used, I'm talking about 5-10 years back. A camera was typically used where they were, they were used in situations where we need to preserve those memories. Like it was an occasion like a birthday or some celebration where we took photos of that situation and then, put it into an album or put it into a drive or whatever. And it was a memory. But what Kodak thought was, instead of this, they thought they were in the business of films, as Joe exactly said. So because they thought they were in the business of films, they couldn't adapt themselves to the digital era. If they had understood that, I'm in the business of improving memories and making memories better, then they could have always thought about, yes, there are better ways of doing it. There are technologies improving, and I can move into the digital phase. I'll give you also a contrasting example of how which company exactly understood something like that, and that is a company called like Netflix. So Netflix, what they did was, there was a company called Blockbuster in the US, which was into say DVD rentals, and Netflix was also doing something in a very similar fashion. But the difference was that with Blockbuster, people have to come to the store, get the experience of going through different cassettes or different CDs, and then pick and choose the one that you want to buy or rent. Netflix back then, what they used to do was they used to post these CDs or cassettes to people in their home. So and from there they realized that it was more about being in the business of entertainment and making sure that the entertainment reaches people at home. And when they realized that the technology was available, they moved into streaming. And also their name being Netflix also helped them a lot in making sure that the brand capture or the brand idea was also existing. So these are two contrasting examples. So yeah, so now with this I'll stop, and what I'll do is like I would like to make this more relevant to you guys by letting you ask more specific questions that you want to learn about in marketing or anything. So yeah, let's open it out to the people from here.
Thank you so much, sir. We have also got comments on YouTube. Like for the first question you asked, people have told that they have used a face moisturizer of Neutrogena.
Okay.
It is a water-based gel, and people also a trimmer. He has bought a trimmer of Panasonic brand, particularly of that brand, and also a scanner of those. Even people are commenting on YouTube. So just now we got that comments.
Amazing.
So I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes, thank you so much for your kind presentation, sir. Like the way you told, like how supermarketing, all those things are really good, sir. Like the field is open up for questions, so you can raise your hand and ask questions. Yes, Joe Arun.
Yeah.
Sorry for being the first again. This question
No, it's fun. I like as much interaction as possible, even if it's from the same person or with multiple people. Go ahead, Joe.
Yes, sir. Can you recommend me a marketing Bible?
Okay, there are so many, but I would say start with a book called The Purple Cow, which is written by Seth Godin. It's a fantastic book which talks about the idea of this book is how to make your product remarkable, how to make it stand out from thousands of other products. That's what the book is all about. This book I think came in 2005 or something like that. It's a fantastic book. And that's one. I would also recommend another interesting book, which is called. Let me quickly check. I'm not remembering this. I'll come back to that. But yeah, this is the first book to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
My question is that. Yeah, one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Joe.
Yeah. My question is that I'm hearing about digital marketing being talked a lot these days after pandemic. I'm asked a person, I met one person who's doing digital marketing, asked how to do a digital marketing, how to start, where to start. What is it? What you prepare your contents first, your posters. We recently seen political campaigns as well. They have some videos, some posters, some GIFs, short clips, 15 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Then go pay Instagram, Facebook, Google, that's it. Is digital marketing that easy? That's one question. And the second thing is, which is the one thing that you will say you do in digital marketing and you don't in digital marketing?
Okay. So to answer your first question, I see fundamentally I'm of the belief system that there is nothing called digital marketing. The reason I say it this way is that, see, marketing is marketing, but it depends on what platform you do it on. Now, when you understand it that way, then you operate on things in a much more logical manner. Let's say, for example, you think about who is the right kind of audience. So you don't start with content, you start with the idea of who is that you're talking to and what problem are you solving for them, or what message are you trying to say, and who is it relevant to, why is it relevant, and things like that. And then once you understand that, then you also start to think about what is the kind of format that they'll consume it in. Like, say for example, if you're talking about something like an apparel or something like a food, then you think about where are the consumers of these kind of information. You generally see people posting images on Instagram, or if you see that there's more interaction towards that there, then it does not even make sense for you to spend time on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. Rather, you would spend your energies on Instagram. So, so again, this is more of an ad side of things or content side of things, where you're thinking about where is my audience hanging out for what I'm trying to tell them, and how they like to consume in what format. Is it going to be video, or is it going to be this? So you think about where you think about the standpoint of how your audience looks at it or why they do it, and then you derive your format, then you derive which platform and things like that. Now, thinking about digital marketing as a concept in itself, I wouldn't agree that it's just purely about running ads, but it is more about the broader perspective of, there are so many things under that table. Like one, there's this the SEO aspect of things, which means that how do I get found. So SEO means search engine optimization for people who have not heard about it. So again, what happens there is anything that you're trying to buy first, like you're going to do that research, and when you search on Google, what are the things that come up, that is your source of information. So to optimize your content for search is one aspect, and then secondly, of course, the kind of content that they land on is another aspect, and third is the format of content consumption is one. Then of course, running ads and reaching out to them is one aspect. So there are going to be again, then what do I do? Do I do a carousel? Do I do just one picture? Like whatever. So all of these things originally comes from the understanding of who your prospect or who your customer is and how they are going to consume it. And then all these smaller aspects of, is it going to be an ad, or is it going to be a content, or is it going to be SEO, or whatever those smaller nitty-gritties, that comes much later. Your fundamental is always understanding who your customer is and why you make sense to them, and you go from there. And to your second question, what to do and what not to do on digital. So don't do anything that feels obviously like an ad or like a message or like you're selling something. So people are easily going to tune out of that. So to give you an example, let's say right now the IPL is going on, and everybody loves to at least I assume most of the people love cricket in our country. So when you go and watch that match, and suddenly there is a TV ad, you're switching channel and looking at something else, right? So nobody wants to be sold to. If you're feeling that somebody is trying to sell you something, if you get a call from a bank, or any of these cold calls that you get on a daily basis, you tune out of it very quickly. So make sure that whatever you say on the digital platform is useful, and at the same time, what you don't do is, don't try to be everything to everybody. Don't try to appeal to a mass audience. Be very specific to whom you're targeting to and whom you're talking to. Like, if my products in my current company, if my product is going to be used primarily by salespeople, it makes more sense for me to talk about the selling process and target a sales-based audience rather than trying to appeal to a wide audience of marketers or developers or people like that. So does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Hope you got your answer. And we have got one question in the comment section, sir. It's from Jennifer. What do you think the key differences between B2B and B2C marketing?
Right. That's a very good question, Jennifer. So typically B2B refers to all products that are sold to a business, which means you're not selling to the end consumer who are going into a store and buying something. Or like, say, for example, if I'm buying something on an Amazon or a nearby store where I go and buy all by myself without having to discuss with the team or without getting budget approval on anything. I just go swipe my card or I use Paytm or anything like that and buy, then that's B2C, which is also these days called direct to consumer. It's also called D2C as well. So you can think about it that way. And in B2B is where your end customer is not a single person, but you are selling to another company. So you're typically thinking about products. It could be software products, or it could be a printer, or it could be catering services. It could be anything that a company with a larger set of people are going to be using. So that's the fundamental understanding. But the difference, the core difference in terms of how you go about the marketing side of things for that is you understand that in a typical B2B scenario, there is more than one person making the decision. So when you produce your content or when you produce your ads or when you make a call or any of these things, you need to understand who are all the typical decision makers into this. So there is going to be one person from finance who is going to approve the budget. There is going to be one side of the company where there are going to be people who are actually using your product, but they don't own the budget. So you need to make sure that your marketing messages is customized to each of the people that you're targeting, and ultimately showing different things. What I mean here is that if you're telling that the ultimate for the end user, if you're saying that this product is easy to use and this is how you use it, that message is not relevant to somebody who is spending from the finance team. For them, you have to say something like, hey, if you use this product, you can save so much cost, or this is the discount that you get, or when you use it for a year, it brings down your overall cost in some way, things like that. So different messages for different people. And when it comes to B2C, it is more emotional, I would say. I mean, it's emotional on both sides, but I would say B2C is more emotional in the sense like it's instinctive. It's more appealing. Now you just think about something. If you're browsing on Amazon and instantly there you might not even have a need, but suddenly you might think, hey, this looks good, let me go and buy it. Or any product that you buy it that way, those are all mostly B2C products. So think about it. Anything that you instantly targeted one person and that moves into a buying process, then that's a B2C. Hope that makes sense. I'm oversimplifying it. Of course, it's not as simple as what I'm saying. There are lots of nitty-gritties in terms of the actual work, but broadly speaking, this is how it works.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And if you are just satisfied with the answer, just give a comment below again.
Okay. Yeah, if you're not happy, you can also say that please explain more or things like that. I'll be more than happy to expand.
So we have questions from Yaagneshwaran. Are you there?
Hi, sir. How are you?
Hi, I'm fantastic. How are you, Yaagneshwaran?
Yeah, good, sir. Good. I have a set of questions with me. Going at the first, going at the first question, how do you keep up with the changes in the field, sir? Like before, it was like we have wire headset, then wireless, then ad pack, something like we always go through the evolution. So thinking about being more futuristic, is it something that we should keep in mind, being futuristic and thinking of the next product that what we have to do, or something like that, sir?
Yeah. So this exactly maps to the Kodak and Netflix example that we spoke about. See, at the end of the day, it depends on it purely depends on what is the problem that you're solving or what is that you believe in. Now, sometimes it need not be even an existing problem that you want to solve. Say for example, think of a product like Geo. Okay, the Geo, when they came with their internet services, what they did was, see, they could play the price game because it was a, again, in marketing, broadly speaking, there is something called a red ocean and there is something called a blue ocean. What I mean by that is, a red ocean means there are already a lot of competitors in that particular space solving for the same problem with their own products. When Geo came with their telecom, there was Bharti Airtel, there was Vodafone, there was Idea, like there were a lot of companies. And then these guys came in and these guys played a different game. They said, we are going to be penetrators, I'm going to give this for free completely. So that's one style. And then there is the other spectrum, which is the blue ocean, which means like this opportunity has not been seen by anyone before, and somebody is coming with a totally new product, like say Clubhouse for audio social media. Like it has not been there for some time. We've had platforms like Instagram, we've had platforms like Facebook, but this platform where there is no text and purely audio was a new innovation. It was a blue ocean. Now, why I'm giving you these options or these examples is to give you a broad framework as to how the market can operate. Now, what should you do is purely dependent on what's the life cycle of the customer that you're looking at. If you're looking for a product, or if you want to build a company that which you want to sell off in about 5 years, then you look at a very specific problem, solve for that, and sell the company to a bigger company or a venture capitalist, and you get out of the business in about 5 to 10 years. Or if you're here for a longer run and you want to continuously innovate, then you look at innovation, you look at the larger scheme of things. That's where a company like Apple, if you look at it, they started as a company that manufactured computers and chips and things like that. From there, can you imagine any other company at that period of time moving from computers to an iPod, which is an MP3 device? And the best part is they did not even say it was an MP3 device. The way they sold it, they said 1,000 songs in your pocket. Again, the ease of that messaging, right? So that's again brilliant about that. And from there, they move on to your iPhone, and from there they move to iPad, and they come up with watches, which typically looks like the good old kid watches that you used to see in shops, but still, because they're Apple, it sells. And from there again, now they are selling headphones like this. So you can move continuously to the different aspects and the different products, and you have to keep the future in mind, because there can always be a product like Geo that can come in and disrupt, because they can they have deep pockets where they can offer the product for free for longer periods of time. So when you spend more time in an industry as a company, one of the problems that you will face is that the person who can take loss for a longer time tends to win. Like Amazon was not profitable for a long time, but they had the pockets and they had the kind of investors who could stick with them for several years. And that's why what happened is, over the last 20-30 years, you saw that there is only one huge e-commerce company like Amazon, and there are other smaller companies. I'm talking about the global level. But so that's the game, right? So you want to decide what game you want to play. There is no one right answer, but yeah, it is important to keep in mind what is the future and how do I keep adapting to that and things like that. Long answer, I know.
Okay, sir. And my another
Does it
question
make
is
sense?
yes, sir, yes, sir, of course.
Okay.
So my another question is like going through the websites of many business related pages, I came through a word called ideal customer. So like
Ideal.
what is ideal?
Okay.
So what is meant by ideal customer? Like does companies aim upon them and sell their product, or like how it is being determined by the company, their point of view?
Right. So it's a marketing term. We call it ICP, Ideal Customer Profile. What it means is that what is the exact kind of customer that you want to go after? Like, who is that you're actually selling to? It's more like, saying, say if I'm looking at selling to if I have an educational product. Okay. Now I'm thinking about who is my ideal customer profile. Now I'm thinking about universities. When I think universities, then I'm thinking about what department do I target? Like, whom does this product make more sense to? Is it is it computer science, or is it leather, or is it instrumentation, or is it electrical engineering? What is the department that will find this more relevant? And then again, I'm thinking about what are the kind of students that I target. People who the people who are targeted to get into the tech side of things, or people who want to get into the manufacturing side of things, or people who want to get into the marketing side of things. So as I keep getting narrowed down, saying that, hey, this university, this kind of person, this kind of profile, and this kind of ambition, things like that. Now I arrive at one kind of a persona that's saying that if a person is like this, if they check all these 5 boxes, like if I have these things in my list saying this is how the person should be, and if they tick all those boxes, then those are the people that I'm going after. So this profile that I create, that whom I'm selling to, this is called the ideal customer profile. So it's not one person, but it's a type of or it's a categorization, or it's probably a persona that I'm going after.
Yeah, okay, sir. I got it. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Are you done with the questions?
Yes, sir. I'm
okay. Okay, fine. Like we have Mithun Khanna waiting on the list.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Hi, Mithun. How are you?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm also having 2 set of questions with you, sir. It's going to be a very simple one, sir.
It can be complex also. I'll try my best to answer that. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, while you are talking about prospects, you tell who are not your customer, but they may be your customer in future, sir. Can you explain what is mean by prospects?
Yeah. So ப்ராஸ்பெக்ட்னா என்ன சொல்ல வரேன்னா, இன்னைக்கு அவங்க உங்க ப்ராடக்ட்டை வாங்கலை, ஓகேவா? ஆனால் அவங்க உங்க ப்ராடக்ட்டை வாங்க வாய்ப்பு இருக்குது. இப்போ நான் இப்போ ஐடியல் கஸ்டமர் பர்சனாக அவருக்கு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணேன் இல்லையா? ஸோ தட்ஸ் எக்ஸாக்ட்லி வாட் ஐம் டாக்கிங் அபவுட். ஐம் சேயிங் தட் ஐம் அஸ்யூமிங் தட் தெர் ஆர் அ செட் ஆஃப் பீப்புள் that may be interested in my product. ஸோ அதுதான் கஸ்டமருக்கும் ப்ராஸ்பெக்டும் வித்தியாசம். என்னன்னா, கஸ்டமர் என் ப்ராடக்ட்டை வாங்கிட்டான், ப்ராஸ்பெக்ட்னா இன்னும் வாங்கலை. தட்ஸ் ஆல்.
Yeah, sir. 2011 நீங்க ஒரு புக் எழுதுனேன்னு சொன்னீங்களா சார்? அந்த புக் நேம் என்ன?
Taken Already.
ஓகே சார். சார் அந்த புக் எதை பேஸ் பண்ணி சார்? என்ன ஜானர் அந்த மாதிரி?
இட்ஸ் இது ரொமான்டிக் த்ரில்லர். இட்ஸ் a fiction book.
எஸ் சார். அது வந்து நீங்க
marketing books நான் எழுதியிருக்கேன். marketing books I have written about 3 marketing books. My first marketing book came out in 2015. It's called Is Your Marketing in Sync or Syncing? அது வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் புக்கு. And then I wrote another book called Syncfluence, which is like synchronized influence. அதுதான் Syncfluence-னு ஒரு புக்கு. And my most recent book 2020 May release ஆனது, that book is called The Revenue Marketing Book. அதாவது how do you rally your troops, your marketing around generating revenue for your product, அந்த மாதிரி.
சார் இந்த புக்ஸ் நீங்க எழுதுறீங்களா சார்? இந்த நீங்க எழுதின புக்ஸ் வந்து இப்போ நீங்க வந்து சேல் பண்ணா என்னென்ன பிளாட்ஃபார்ம் நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணீங்க சார்? லைக் அந்த ஸ்டார்டிங் ஸ்டேஜஸ், இயர்லி ஸ்டேஜஸ்.
ஸோ பேசிக்காக புக்கு வந்துட்டு இன்னைக்கு ஸ்டேஜில் இட் இஸ் வெரி ஈஸி டு செல். இப்போ நீங்கள் வந்து தெர் ஆர் ஸோ மெனி கம்பெனிஸ் that help you in getting a book published. ஸோ முன்னாடி வந்துட்டு there used to be only one traditional publishing platform where you had to reach out to say ஒரு random house publisher-ஓ இல்லை Penguin-ஓ அந்த மாதிரி. பட் இன்னி ஸ்டேஜில் வந்து there are so many publishers who help you self-publish your book. Self-publishனா நீங்கள் வந்துட்டு you can pay and get your book published at a minimum cost மாதிரி. ஸோ அவங்களே டிஸ்ட்ரிபியூஷன் பார்த்துப்பாங்க. ஸோ மை புக் இஸ் pretty much available everywhere on say Amazon, Flipkart, like whatever, Barnes and Nobles, Kindle, like wherever people buy அந்த ஃபார்மேட்டில், both digital as well as physical books.
Yes sir, thank you sir, thank you very much.
No problem.
Your way of talking is very beautiful, sir, to listen.
Thank you so much. You're so kind.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mithun. Sir, I'll take one question from the comment section.
Yeah.
It is from Ilakya. The question is, sir, if a product or a brand is said to be failed or failing, in this situation, is it because of marketing or because of other aspects?
Right. So it's actually a very, very good question and also a very interesting question, because a product can succeed or fail for a lot of reasons. You can have, but what marketing does to this is it amplifies something. So what I mean by this is you can have a good product which is also marketed really well, then the product really takes off and there's lots of success. Then you can also have a bad product which is marketed really well. What happens is a lot of people get to know this product. Once they start using it, they might feel that this product does not live up to the promise, and then that information again spreads very fast, saying that hey, today there are for software product typically you look at lots of these forums where people talk about they give a rating. Like look at our own movie industry. இன்னைக்கு எல்லாருமே ரிவ்யூ போடுறாங்க. இவன் தான் ரிவ்யூ போடணும்னு அவசியமே இல்லை. Everybody talks about it, right? So that if a product is marketed well, you get to know the product really quickly, and then if the product does not live up to your expectation, then the bad information also goes out very quickly. So it's a multifold problem. If you have good product, good marketing, great. If you have bad product, good marketing, again it multiplies quickly and people get to know. Bad product and bad marketing ஆச்சு அப்படின்னா யாருக்குமே தெரியாது. Nobody knows where your product exists, right? So it's very much like one among the 10,000 products. You don't even know that இந்த படம் வந்துச்சா அப்படின்ற மாதிரி இருக்கும். And so that's about it. And why a product or a brand fails, again there are thousands of reasons. It could be that it could be because a product like Kodak which did not adapt to the future, or it could be because it was an interesting product but ahead of time, like say Kamal Hassan படம் மாதிரி வந்தப்போ யாருக்கும் புரியாது, 10 வருஷம் கழிச்சு சூப்பர்னோ, something like that. And there could be thousands of reasons to it. I'm giving you these kind of simple colloquial examples so that you can relate to how I'm saying certain things. But yeah, at the end of the day, there could be thousands of reasons. It's not just marketing. It could be bad product also. It could be a feature that people really want to use and that's not available. So on the mari irukumbodhu, what happens is people quickly move on to your competitor and start using that product. So today the market is so very open. You cannot restrict anyone. So if there are 10 products, then people are gonna, or a simple example சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னா, you walk into a Pandi Bazaar, there are like there are hundreds of shops. If you don't get something here, if you don't if you're, nobody is going and literally thinking about, do I want a Coke or a Pepsi? If I'm asking for a Coke and if the shopkeeper says that Pepsi da irukku, we don't mind, right? So there are certain products that we are okay to switch. So there is no real loyalty to any product. In the brand loyalty a concept it helps with certain products, certain high ticket items, which means like products that you spend a lot. அதுக்கு you want a more reliable brand that you can spend on, but certain nitty-gritties you can keep moving. So yeah, there are failures, there are a lot of reasons. In fact, I could speak on for 2 hours for saying that why a product can fail. But yeah, it's not just marketing for sure, Ilakya.
Silakya, if you got answered, leave a comment below. And here we have Mohammed Rizwan. You can ask your question.
Hi Rizwan.
Hi sir. Sir, there are a lot of marketing strategies. What would you suggest for a service company and a product-based company?
Right. So if I'm telling you that there is one strategy for this and that, then life becomes so easy. அந்த மாதிரி சொல்லவே முடியாது. See, marketing is one space. Again, okay, this is one more thing. Like if you're buying a digital marketing course or any course that you're signing up, if somebody tells you that doing this will change your life, then that's a big signal that they are cheating you. Okay. So what like it's like your education, you get in your university, like you get the basics, you get the fundamentals, and you start experimenting. You have to see what works and what doesn't. So service companies, there are different types of service companies, right? Am I selling a consulting service, or am I selling a IT service? Am I doing a development for somebody? So those kind of things, again, once you do that, then you also have to understand whom am I selling to, what industry am I selling to. Is it an accounting product, or is it a product that is going to be bought by end people, or what is that, right? So the product or not, whether it's also service company, you have to test out and understand. First, I think it all starts with two basic questions. Whose problem are you solving? Why are you why are you the best option and not your competitor? So once you have these two, from there your strategy starts. Strategy, it's just the logic, the fundamental of understanding why you exist and what problem you're solving for. Once you understand these two, then you know what message. You talk to about 10 customers, and then you understand why somebody bought your product, or why somebody moved from you to a competitor, or why they prefer something over the other. Once you understand these things, then you also understand who are the kind of people that are best suited for your product. So உங்களுக்கு வந்துட்டு காம்படிட்டரோட ப்ராடக்ட் யூஸ் பண்றவங்க உங்களோட ப்ராடக்ட் யூஸ் பண்றவங்க இருக்கணும் அவசியம் இல்லை. If you realize that people who use your product for one specific reason, உங்க ப்ராடக்ட் வந்து 10 விஷயம் பண்ணலாம், but if they realize that there's one thing which people love the most, then focus on that story and focus on reaching out that more, double down on that. So that's one thing about it. So it's going to be always an experiment. There is no one silver bullet that will solve all problems. You have to throw like dozens of lead bullets and see what people bite.
Yes, sir, that was a clear answer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rizwan. We have Abhishri. You can ask a question.
Hi, Abhishri.
Good afternoon, sir. Your all the answers and all the full presentation was very great, and everything was like understood.
Thank you so much
by
for
me.
being kind.
Sir, my question is that I'm not going too much into the company and business side. As a normal consumer, knowing a marketing held in the like from this small grocery shop to the supermarket, what is the awareness that we need to know, sir? Like by knowing a marketing by a customer, what is the basic awareness should we need to know?
So when you're talking about awareness, are you talking about awareness as somebody who is selling the product, or somebody who's buying the product?
As buying a product, sir.
Okay.
Like basic awareness need to know while buying a product.
Yeah. So see, for somebody who buys the product, you need not worry too much about marketing. You just need to look at what are you buying this product for. Generally any product that we buy, there are dozens of reasons that we don't even think about. So for example, let's say many a times when you talk to certain people, you will realize that the reason that people say that they bought a particular product was probably not the right reason, or not the real reason. And it could be because of a variety of reasons. It's not that they don't want to share. It's because that they haven't given a deeper thought about that. Let's say for example, I know in the last 5-6 months, I know a lot of people bought an iPhone purely because they wanted to be on Clubhouse. That was one of the reasons. It was not even again, if you think about it from a company standpoint, it was not because say iPhone was better than OnePlus or any other phone. It was because Clubhouse as an app was available only for iOS. So it could be also things like this, right? So at the end of the day, a customer always decides based on what they are buying this product for. And at the same time, there are also many other products where you buy, you're not very conscious about you exactly want this brand, right? So say for example, if you're going to you're picking up oil from a supermarket, and say it's a sunflower oil. If not this brand, you're gonna get something else, because at the end of the day, it does not make a lot of difference. So customer or marketing aspect நீங்க எப்படி aware இருக்கணும் அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, that's more about trying to understand trying to understand more about if this is more of a marketing message or if this is information. So always be aware of what is information and what is the story, right? So the best example that I can give you is take any news channel, right? So right now I can be very confident in saying that there is no news channel that gives you news. Nobody is reporting, but people are giving you stories or perspectives. நீங்க வந்து சன் நியூஸ்ல கேட்டீங்கன்னா ஒரு கதை சொல்லுவாங்க. You look at some other, say Jaya TV, they'll tell you other news. But you will get two different perspectives of the same story, and then you as a citizen, you compare these two and then realize, okay, probably this is what really happened, but this is the version this person is giving. Virumadi Padamari, both of them have their own perspectives, but reality is that this is what happened. So be aware of what is the product and what is the story. So the use case is always different. So to give you an example, what could I say? Say today if somebody is more aware of diet, and they are conscious about say the usage of sugar in their products, they would have written no sugar or added preservatives. But when you turn and see the ingredients, அதை வந்து glucose, sucrose இந்த மாதிரிலாம் போட்டிருப்பாங்க, which is again sugar. So if you have to look at if it's a message or if it's information. So I think this is one awareness that you can have as a customer. Hope that makes sense.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abhishri. Now we have Hariharan. You can ask a question.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Hari.
My question is, in this pandemic, every person entering into the online marketing, sir. So what are the limitations of online marketing, sir?
That's a very interesting question. See, I wouldn't say, there are definitely limitations in sense like, say, for example, if this session that was happening today, if this was happening in person in Anna University, the connection that I could have had with you people would have been a lot better in sense like, while I say if all of you 30-35 people were there in a single auditorium or in a single classroom, then I could look at each of you and have that personal connection. I could see that, hey, am I even resonating? Am I being understood, or am I boring? Based on that, I could have changed few things based on how I talk. Now, because everybody has their camera off, I have to take a judgment and I have to keep giving simpler examples so that I'm understood and it's not like going above your head or things like that. So that's one. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say online marketing is something that has a limitation. But see, as such, that's why I believe there is nothing called digital marketing or online marketing. It's always that marketing based on where your customers are. So that's the fundamental of any marketing. Think about marketing as to, if today in the pandemic, because nobody is meeting in person, nobody is conducting events, or nobody is meeting up in a coffee shop or anything like that, pretty much everything happens online. So today we are here. That is why your courses also have moved online. Like pretty much every product has moved online. That is why Zoom as a product, their stock prices went up like crazy ever since the pandemic started. And if you notice the beauty of this, the day Pfizer in US announced that they had found vaccination for COVID, Zoom stock price started coming down. So there is correlation to all of these things, how the market perceives. So yeah, that's I don't think I answered your question very clearly, but broadly நான் என்ன சொல்ல வரேன் அப்படின்னா, limitation ஒன்று கிடையாது. It purely depends on where your customer is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for answering.
Another
I will take one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Another question, sir. If I start up the company, it's going well, sir. But I will promoting or marketing the another level. How will you evaluate, sir? The promotion idea, how will you evaluate?
I didn't understand the question.
இப்போ வந்து நான் புதுசா ஸ்டார்ட் அப் பண்ணி ஒரு கம்பெனி, ஓகே சார், கம்பெனி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணி ஒர்க் போயிட்டு இருக்கு. ஸோ நல்லா போயிட்டு இருக்கு. நான் அடுத்த லெவலுக்கு எடுத்துட்டு போறதுக்காக ஒரு ப்ரொமோஷன் ஐடியா எடுத்துட்டு வரேன். ஸோ அந்த ஐடியா வந்து நான் எப்படி எவாலுவேட் பண்றது, அது ஒர்க் ஆகுமா ஒர்க் ஆகாதா அப்படிங்கிறது எப்படி எவாலுவேட் மார்க்கெட்டிங் செக்டார்ல.
ரைட். ஸோ மார்க்கெட்டிங்ல வந்து தெர் இஸ் சம்திங் கால்ட் ஏபி டெஸ்டிங். ஓகேவா? வெரி மச் லைக் இன்ஜினியரிங் கான்செப்ட். ஸோ ஏபி டெஸ்டிங்னா என்ன அப்படின்னா, மேபி செலக்ட் அன் ஆடியன்ஸ். இப்போ நீங்கள் வந்துட்டு ஒரு மேபி ஒரு சின்ன ஆடை ரன் பண்ணலாம், ஃபேஸ்புக் ஆடை ரன் பண்ணலாம், லிங்க்டின் ஆடை ரன் பண்ணலாம், லைக் டிபெண்டிங் ஆன் உங்கள் ஆடியன்ஸ் எங்கே இருக்குன்னு. அண்ட் வாட் யூ டூ இஸ் யூ டெஸ்ட் அவுட். ஒரு சே வந்து இங்கே 50% ஆஃப் கொடுத்து நீங்கள் டெஸ்ட் பண்ணலாம், இன்னொரு இடத்துல 10% ஆஃப் கொடுத்து டெஸ்ட் பண்ணலாம். டெஸ்ட் பண்ணிங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், ஐம் ஜஸ்ட் கிவிங் யூ வெரி ப்ராட் எக்ஸாம்பிள். அண்ட் தென் யூ ரியலைஸ் பேஸ்ட் ஆன் யுவர் பீப்புள்ஸ் ரியாக்ஷன் வெதர் தேர் ப்ரைஸ் சென்சிட்டிவ் ஆர் நாட். யூனோ தே லைக் யூர் ப்ராடக்ட். நான் வந்து பெரிய டிஸ்கவுண்ட்டாக இருக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை, ஐ ஸ்டில் லைக் த ப்ராடக்ட் அப்படின்னு வாங்குறாங்களா. ஸோ விச் மீன்ஸ் லைக் யுவர் நம்பர் ஆஃப் பீப்புள் பையிங் த்ரூ த 10% discount and 50% discount are the same. Then you can make a decision that okay, let me not give that 50%, 10% works for me and it's more profitable. So that's one way. But predominantly in today's market, it's always better to put out an experiment and see what happens. There is nobody can guarantee you that this will work or this won't work. I mean, the best of companies, even the biggest of companies, have failed. In a lot of biggest companies that were doing great for about 20-30 years have gone out of business during the pandemic. So it's also about how you evolve over a period of time and adapt to the situations, and it's going to be always continuous experimentations. There is no one straitjacket answer to anything, Hari.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you, Hari. So I'll take one question from the comment section.
Sure.
Some deep Bhaskar. The question is, which is more sustainable, online marketing or normal eye-to-eye contact marketing?
Right. So this purely depends on where your customers are and how it's going to work. So if your business is more about one-to-one, like say, to give you an example, if you are in the movie business, I mean, movie business again has come online. Say if you are in the drama business or an art business, where typically everybody goes to the show, like say or stand-up comedy show, Mari, if you go there and if you want that experience, and that's if your business is more of a contact business, which mean when I say contact, I'm talking about meeting in person kind of a business, then you can still market online, but predominant delivery of your product experience happens in person. It could be food delivery, it could be a concert, it could be anything like that. But what I would say is, again, it adapts to the current situation. If nobody is people were going to a lot of movie halls, and once the situation changed, people started releasing movies on Netflix, or people started releasing movies on Amazon Prime. So I wouldn't necessarily say that one is better over the other. It is about adapting to the current times and where your audience is going and to the situation, basically. If you cannot travel, if you cannot do this in person, then see that if your audience is also willing to accept the same kind of service online, and if that experiment is working and that's the situation universally, then obviously it's going to work more online. So it's not this or that, it's tomorrow it could be totally something else. So yeah, be open to that.
So thank you, sir. Basak, if you're just satisfied, give a comment. And we have a question from our side, Charanji Verma. You can ask a question.
Hi, good afternoon, sir.
Hi, Charanji. Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, I'm starting a startup in unique sector, sir. So
okay.
Up to some time, I don't have any competitors. Let us say suddenly there are competitors rising up. What should I do immediately, sir? Should I drop my price or add some offers, or else I don't consider and as if there is no competitors and I should believe in my product or service?
Great question. So see, again, what happens is when you start something, you always have a significant advantage of people looking at you as a category creator. right? You created that particular category of product. So what happens is invariably, how many other products come in, people are going to have that mind space of you being the market leader, unless you screw up something really bad. But that said, it does not mean that you stop innovating. So the reason why, when you are the only product in that category, you have 100% market share. But when there are competitors coming up, your market share, you look at where your market share is. If your market share is about like 80% or 90%, and others are splitting for the other 10%, like say the next 4 players who are competing with you are competing for that 10%, you're still holding that 90%, then you're doing good. But still always look at keep an eye on them. I mean, don't completely be obsessed with what the competition is doing. Be more obsessed with the customer. That's more important. But at the same time, don't totally fall out of space. You have to be always one step ahead. So that's important to keep innovating in any product. So I would say any product, whether you are new or coming much later into that space, it's important for you to continuously keep evolving the product. That's again, keep talking to your customers. There's nothing like that. If the more you keep talking to your customers, what they are looking for, and you start understanding as to how they are using a product. And the moment, like I'll give you an example. What happened long before, about like 10-12 years back, this was a interesting case that happened in Gujarat, where there was one washing machine company that tried to do some market research, saying that which part of Gujarat where people going to buy more washing machines. And what happened was, the western side of the city, there were not many wealthy families. So the market research report told them that the western part is not going to buy much, whereas on the eastern side, there are people that are extremely rich and have a lot of business, and then they have big houses with with joint families. So probably these are the guys who are going to buy 2 or more washing machines at home. And when the actual product was launched, to the surprise, it was found that the people on the west actually ended up buying more. And when these guys went down and really tried to understand how come this happened, totally contrasting to the report, they understood that the people here, they were actually using washing machines to make lassi in large quantity. And it was mind blowing, right? So nobody could think that somebody was using this product this way. And so once you understand how your customers are using your product, then you know what is your natural next extension. What additional features that you need to develop, or what other products that you need to develop in your own company that aligns with your existing product, that can serve your customers better, and things like that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So is it okay, like if we go exceed for 10 more minutes, like we have probably a couple of questions from our side.
Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Joe Arun, you can ask your question.
Yeah. Hi, sir.
Hi, Joe. Go ahead.
So it's not a question. It's kind of an statement I like to ask from you.
Sure.
So since we talked a lot about Apple as an example, I like to take Apple here.
Yeah.
We know this Steve Jobs unfortunately died in October 5, 2011.
Yeah.
Before October 5, during August 24, Tim Cook was made CEO of Apple.
Right.
So in 2011, the product which was, I'm assuming that developed under the supervision of Steve Jobs, was iPhone 4.
Yeah.
And then iPhone 5 was launched in 2012 September, which I believe was also R&D in cooperation with Steve Jobs while he was alive.
Yeah.
Since it takes lots of time.
Yeah.
After iPhone 5 and Tim Cook becoming the CEO, there was no new innovation I've seen until iPhone, say, 7.
Right.
The last innovation was iPhone 5. Touch ID was introduced, and it was kept on there for until iPhone 7.
Yeah.
And then around 2016, iPhone 7 was launched, and then 2017, iPhone 10 was launched.
Yeah.
I think the major role played here was by Tim Cook, just because while Steve Jobs was there is always new features being added into iPhone, and people buy their product because they think there is a lot of features which is there. But after Tim Cook, who is a marketing person earlier, and Steve Jobs was CEO, so now a marketing person is a CEO.
Yeah.
What I think he did was in iPhone 10, he removed headphone jack, which he removed a feature, and he upsold it with AirPods, which eventually was a very good for company. It's created a lot of profit, and the whole industry followed it.
Yeah.
Again, he did that again in iPhone 12 Pro. He removed the charges, saying it's good for environment, when it's completely not.
Yeah.
Everyone can agree that. So again, upselling another product, which creates profits for the company. So my question here is marketing persons or marketing people becoming CEO and directing a company is good for consumers? Because I can say it's really good for company, because Apple has hit $1 trillion in evaluation. So it's really good for the company. But what about consumers? Are we losing innovations in the product? Because the innovations are all in marketing thing, upselling.
Right. So this is actually a very interesting observation, and in fact, very good observation and a very good question. So here's how I look at it. See, again, marketer, when a marketer becomes a CEO, it's not about a marketer becoming a CEO and it's not being good for the consumer. It's more like marketers tend to understand the customers better and operate accordingly. Now let me explain this why it is a good move. So see, as you rightly said, until Jobs was there, iPhone was looked at as an innovative smartphone. Okay, but what Tim Cook realized is, this iPhone is not just a smartphone, but it became a status symbol. People using a Mac and a smartphone, the perception was that, okay, this guy is using Apple, maybe he likes using sophisticated products. Whether it's true or false, let's not go into that, but the perception is that this is a status symbol. Now it's very much like somebody you are driving a BMW or an Audi or some of those premium cars. So that was that. So once he realized that people are looking at this product from that perspective, then he realized that he's not just competing with other phones, but he's competing more on a wallet share where people are going to spend a lakh on something more valuable, right? So he started playing into that value game. And once that happened, then he started realizing what are the things that people could show off. Now, the reason why I'm saying that this is very clearly a status game is that when you look at anybody using any other phone, okay, so like say here, when I use my iPhone, the kind of case that I use behind, I always make sure that the Apple logo is still visible. Okay, because people who use Apple generally are proud of showcasing that they're using Apple. But when you look at cases for other phones in general, it covers what product it is, and the back is covered, so you don't even see the logo or anything. If you look at the same logic, you can look at this even in premium cars. People who I'm talking about a few years back where people were still using tinted windows in their cars until we had this governmental rule. So you always saw that the luxurious car, people who use luxurious cars, they always used plain glasses. They never tinted that, because when you use something that is of a status symbol, you want people to see that you're using this. So that's one thing that Cook understood really well. Second part was, how could he expand that? I should not, my headphone should not look pretty much the same as somebody else. It should not be just something that connects to my phone, but I will use something, even if it's quirky to look, just hanging outside of my ears. It's again a status symbol, right? So once you understand why people are buying, then your entire business model and the way you're pricing the product and the way you are marketing and promoting it changes. So you're not even talking features there, right? Features don't matter beyond a point. The people who are standing in queues for products like Apple are not going behind features, but they're buying it because they support the brand. So that's the idea. And I think Tim Cook has leveraged the brand really well. And the reason it has expanded, I mean, if people found it to be absolutely absurd, they wouldn't be getting to $1 trillion. They are there because people still look at it as a symbol, and that's what they want to leverage on. Hope that makes sense.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, Joe. And we'll take one question from the comment section, sir.
Sure.
Before that, Bhaskar has replied that that's a good reply.
Thank you.
His commented. And the question from Jennifer is, how a startup can know that they are overspending on marketing?
Right. So this is okay. I would say this is not even a marketing question, but this is generally a business question, because as a startup, your first priority is to make sure that your company can sustain for the first 1 or 2 years, right? So that's at the very basic. What I mean by that is, if you have to survive for 1 or 2 years, you need to have people who are buying your product or service, whatever you're selling, right? So which means you need to look at what is the balance between your spend and what is the balance between your outcome. There are two things here. Are you looking at revenue or are you looking at profitability? By revenue, what it means is that whatever comes, like if people are buying your product for say 100 rupees and 10 people buy 1000 rupees is your revenue. But when you look at profitability, it's more like how much you've spent for people to look at your product and at what price people buy, and the difference between the spend and the and your revenue is your profitability. Now you have to think about the way you're going to scale your company, right? So are you going to scale fast? Like if you want to grow faster, are you going to go the route of say getting some investors invest in your company? So that's one way to look at it. Or do you want to bootstrap your company? By bootstrap, I mean that you're putting in your own money to build your company for some time, and see it's always best to be funded by your own customers because they like your product and they buy it. So that's one option. So how will you recognize whether you're overspending or not is purely by one equation. Like if your marketing spend is translating into revenue in some way or not. Like if you're spending 1000 rupees and just two people are signing up, and those two are not ending up buying your product, then obviously you're not just overspending on marketing, but you're also spending in the wrong area. Or probably the issue is not even marketing, the issue is more about your product, or if it's really solving a problem or things like that. So yeah, you can purely map it to the outcome. So that's how you compare whether you're spending right or whether you're spending less. There could also be the other side where you're spending and you're getting more customers, and then maybe you need to spend more because this is working out. So it purely depends on how you're measuring, what results you want to measure, and where you're going.
Thank you, sir. Jennifer, if you are just satisfied, leave a comment below. And we have a question from Muhammad Arshad Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Shrev. Hi, sir.
Hi, Arshad.
Hi. So my question is, you spoke about the marketing functions. You spoke about content marketing, demand generation, and ad campaigns. Is there any market research that this type of marketing function has brought in a lot of customers, or would you say that this particular type, for example, content marketing, has brought in a lot of customers?
Right. So here's an interesting observation. What happens is, say if you are looking at a company or a software that provides some sort of analytics with respect to content marketing, they will talk about content marketing has helped so much. If you're looking at an ad platform that is helping you make your ads better and give analytics, they'll talk about ads are doing well. So everybody is going to give you their own perspective, but what works in marketing is it's actually having a good mix of things, and it's also about understanding what's right for you at what stage, right? So if you look at for us right now at Avoma, we have about close to 200 customers. Like our company is just about 3 years old. We are a startup. and we have about 200 customers, and we have not spent much on ads. So right now, purely what you see is the content that we have on website, and then so initially in any product or any company, what happens is you reach out to your circle, and then you make sure that the people who buy your product are first, these are happy customers, and then eventually if they are happy, they refer to more people. So there's referral is also an important aspect of marketing, which I probably missed. So again, look at Uber, right? One of the reasons why Uber grew the way they grew is purely because of referrals. The people, referred, and first 5 people, then the 5 people, it keeps growing. So I wouldn't necessarily say that one marketing concept, like in any company, there are you will see all these different departments within the marketing company. You will see a set of people working on demand gen, where they're generating more leads for a product. You'll also see a set of people who are working on creating that content and promoting that content. In fact, even within content marketing, there are two aspects. That one is the set of folks that who write, and the set of folks that who promote it in the right areas. At the end of the day, it's not just writing, right? So you need to have that content visible, so that when it's being searched, you get it. So it's about the balance. It's about looking at while you're crawling what you need, while you begin to walk what you need, and then when you run what kind of shoes you need, and then when you decide to fly, you need a ticket to the flight as well.
Sure, sir. And one more thing was when you were talking about the marketing aspect, overall aspect, I was wondering how would the world be without marketing? How will the companies would have been selling their products if the term or marketing was not there? Yeah. So what do you think on that, sir? Well, if
pretty much
yes.
Like pretty much you and I would not be talking today if there was no marketing. It's not about me as a marketer, but what I'm trying to say is that just imagine this entire scenario. Like somebody saw me on LinkedIn, and they said they thought that, okay, maybe I would be a good fit for this crowd today to talk about this topic. You can look at that also as marketing, because somebody has a perception. I did not go and tell them that, hey, I am the right fit for these people, but probably they saw something and they felt that, hey, looks like this is interesting, maybe this is useful. So now that person influenced a committee of people saying that, hey, looks like this person might be interesting, what do you think? And they all go back and look at the things that I've done. They go to my website, they go to my company, they go to my LinkedIn, and then think, okay, maybe this is interesting. Let's float it out. Let me send it out into a WhatsApp group and see if more people are interested. And if they get that interest, then eventually they reach out to me and they start this conversation. And when I say yes, this happened. So this is also marketing. So pretty much any information that you're getting on anything today, from person to politics to news to pretty much everything, there is today, I would confidently say that there is no one source of truth. It's always a story which comes from one version, and the world is divided and polarized based on that. People who like this don't like that. So that's the whole game, right? So yeah, marketing is basically information sharing. It's in many ways the existence. It's again, it's not rocket science. That's the beauty of marketing. I wouldn't be in marketing if it was engineering, because I'm not an engineer. I don't know technical stuff. If you ask me, even in terms of my products that I sell, if you ask me about the table level and the coding level stuff, I would not have an answer, right? But at the end of the day, marketing is very logical. Today, the way I'm connecting with you, I'm talking to you, and the information that I'm sharing, I did not come in prepared saying that I'm going to talk to you about these examples. But now, because you're asking these questions, I'm thinking about certain things, and these informations have come to me through some source. So yeah, all of these things are marketing.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Hope I didn't bore you.
Thank you, sir.
No, sir.
Yes, sir. Definitely not, sir. I will take one last question from Saravanan. And before that, we have got a reply from Jennifer stating that, thank you for picking and answering my question. And overall, it's a great session by Flyers. Thank you, Jennifer.
I truly appreciate that you like it.
Yes, sir. Saravanan.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I think I have a poor network. Hope I am audible. Can you check, sir?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, I can hear you, Saravanan.
Okay, very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Saravanan.
So, what my question is, nowadays not only in business, also in politics. That is what we are till witness within before 2 or 3 weeks before all in the TN assembly elections also.
Yeah, you're breaking a little bit, Saran. I didn't get the initial part what you said.
No?
It's breaking a little bit. Is it only for me, or is it the same case for?
No, sir, it is breaking. Saran, you just switch off your video. Yeah, now it is clear now.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Sir, good afternoon. Actually, we are discussing about the marketing, and I personally felt that nowadays marketing is not only in business, also in politics and other field also. That is what we are very recently witnessed in the 21 assembly election, not only in TN, also in West Bengal, all other states.
I'm not going to make any political statements today. Huh?
No, sir. I don't want to you in that particular tab. What my concern is, what my understanding from those advertisement and everything is, it clearly shown that they are doing marketing, nothing else. So from their perspective, I will ask you a question. Is there is any strategy that actually I am going to do marketing, but without the people felt that they are doing marketing? Can you get my point, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. You're bang on. See, this when you see something and you can recognize that this is clearly being marketed, then that is bad marketing. Simple as that. Okay. So if somebody is very openly telling you that I'll give you this, and this, vote for me, that is bad marketing. You obviously know that they are, they are not talking about solving a problem. Again, without getting political, I'm just trying to look at the marketing angle and telling you that when something feels blatantly that they are trying to sell you something in exchange of something, that's not a good way to market. So the fundamental job of marketing is to help people get from one stage A to stage B. Now, at the very core of any marketing, it's two things. Are you building trust? Are you building relationships? Now, let's say, for example, if after this session, right? So if we are not even getting in touch, or if we are not even connecting, but few years down the line, or like say even 1 year down the line, if you guys at at Flyers, and if you guys at Anna University think that if tomorrow I want somebody to consult for my marketing, and let me hire Yag, okay? So now that is because I did not tell you that buy my product, do this, do that, but maybe because I answered your questions and you felt that I gave you a very authentic answer and I was not trying to push anything on you. We have earned that trust and we have had this relationship where you think you can believe me. So I think that's how marketing needs to be. Fundamentally, marketing is that am I getting my question answered, or am I understanding what this is all about? Am I, again, you can build it in different phases. Are you building awareness for a product? Are you, helping somebody when they are considering 2-3 different products? What should I select? Or are you giving them options like, what are the prices at which they can buy, like what you get for each pricing? Pretty much at each stage, right? From awareness to consideration to even decision making, to finally after buying the product also somebody spoke about support, right? So am I offering support to the product that you bought? Am I, like, when you are coming back to give me a complaint, like, am I handling it better, or I'm putting you through an IVR saying that press 3, press 5, wait for this, wait for that? Are you getting that experience? So overall, if I'm able to build that trust and maintain that relationship with you and keep you satisfied, and sometimes even go beyond that and delight you with something that you did not even expect, I think that is good marketing. So anything that appears blatantly as push, that's not marketing at all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Always have a pull strategy instead of push strategy. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. You can have push as well. If something is pushed at your mobile, and if it's clicking and something is working, that's also fine. So again, what I'm trying to tell you is that don't have a this or that mindset. It's all about the combination. It's like cooking. Sometimes this needs to be higher, or this needs to be higher. You try out different combinations, and ultimately you figure out what's the best mix that works for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's how we can make it practical. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Anand. Thank you. Thank you, sir, Anand. Sir, can I have one last question from my side?
Sure.
Actually, like we are speaking about marketing, there are some companies like Rolls-Royce and Lamborghini who don't have any kind of marketing, the way the advertisements or whatever it is. What would you comment on those companies like that?
Right. So see, again, it's not that they don't have marketing or they don't have a few things, but see what they know clearly what their target audience is, and they're talking to them. A Rolls-Royce, for a Rolls-Royce, it's a privilege for people to buy Rolls-Royce. That's how they are positioning it to people. In fact, even if you go and apply and say that I want to buy and show the money that you have, they still have certain criteria, right? So they have criteria that you need to have like 2 or 3 generations of being wealthy and something like that. So the idea of doing something like that is when you build your brand, there are always going to be 2 things. One, you're not going to be everything for everyone. You're going to have people who like you. You're going to have people who hate you. Any brand for that matter, even Apple or even like Nike or any brand for that matter, there'll be people who like, there'll be people who hate. So for people to like you or hate you, there needs to be a belief system, right? So if there are a set of people who believe in what you believe in, so again, if I have to give you a political example, there is a liberal wing, there is a right wing, right? So there are 2 different points of views. Similarly, again, it's but what happens is, in reality, when we as people, we are neither on this end nor on this end. Sometimes we feel that this is right, sometimes we feel this is right. We are a combination, right? So we have all kinds of perspectives, and that's how it works. But what happens is a brand polarizes you, and a political party polarizes you. They say that people who believe in this come on this side, people who believe in this come on this side. There is no middle ground. So similarly, what a brand does is they position themselves towards a belief system. They say that I am for this kind of a group only. I'm exclusive. So in a way, Apple is also that. You say that I'm priced this way because I don't want everyone to own this like jaggery. I want people of a specific type to own this product, right? So that's why they do it. And again, it's not that they are not marketing, but they are marketing to a different group. That's why you're not seeing those ads, you're not seeing those messages, they're not reaching out to you. So that's what it is. So it fundamentally starts with who is it for, what is the belief system. And if you look at the beauty of this, the message and story also differs. So when you go and buy a car, and if you come with the mindset of a specific budget and I don't want to spend too much on petrol, then you're looking for, you will resonate better when the company that talks more about mileage. Whereas that group, they will resonate better if they say that I'm having this unique umbrella that goes into a door, or the car does not make sound. You keep the glass on top of the vehicle, and when I start, the water doesn't spill. So this is how smooth the vehicle is, and things like that. So it's different messages for different people.
Yes, sir, definitely. I got a different idea on what it is for the market, sir. So we are done with the question answers in the comment section also. Yes, sir. Thank you. Now I call upon Flyer Arshad Khan, Secretary of Flyers Club, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shoaib. I, on behalf of Flyers, like to extend a very hearty thanks to the speaker of today's webinar session, Mr. Yaagneshwaran Ganesh, for a highly informational and interactive session, focusing widely on different aspects of marketing and very patiently answering to all the questions raised in the comment section. And thank you for coming and talking to us today in this platform. We hope to have more sessions like this in the near future. Finally, I would like to thank the event management team for organizing this webinar session and all the participants for attending this session. Thank you, everyone. That is it for today. We hope to meet you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It was such a pleasure catching up with all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.